Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us today for the Google for Education Certified Innovators Innovator Panel Q&A. We're so excited to have a really awesome panel of certified innovators with us today to share us their experience in the Certified Innovator Program, what they do now, share some tips for maybe people interested in applying, and of course answer any questions you folks have. We're joined today by Becky Evans from the Google for Education team. Becky, did you want to introduce yourself and share with us about the program and any things that you can share about it?
If I can unmute my mic.
Sorry, all Becky might be muted. That's perfect.
If you're just joining us, folks, you can go to certifiedinnovators.com during the broadcast to get information, and you can ask questions in the Q&A box on the Hangout in the Google Plus event or with the hashtag #GoogleEI, and we'll be monitoring those and answering those questions for you. Becky, tell us.
Hi everyone. Sorry again for that. We're having a bit of Wi-Fi issues in a Google office. How ironic. But I'm really excited to announce the relaunch of the Google for Education Certified Innovator Program. I'm a senior program manager on the EDU team, and what was the Google Certified Teacher Program, and it's now our Certified Innovator Program, is one of our most impactful programs and programs that the team is most excited about here at Google. So we're really excited to have you guys as potential applicants and potential participants in the program. So if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask this panel of amazing innovators or ask our central team here. And again, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you as part of the program.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks so much, Becky. Great, and I want to introduce you guys all now to our panelists here, who later we'll hear from about their experiences and tips and tricks they have for the program. But for now, it would be awesome if I can just call you all out down along the line, and if you could share with us maybe your name, where you're at now, what you're doing, and what cohort you were involved in the Innovator Program. So let's start with Miss Donita Morgan.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Donita Morgan, and I currently serve as an instructional systems integrator here at New Visions for Public Schools, located in New York City. And my role is to primarily work with teachers and schools to implement Google Apps for Education in their classrooms and into their daily work with students. And I started out as a teacher when I became a Google certified teacher, and I was located actually in India, so I'm part of the GTA Gurgaon cohort. So, and
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Donita, and it's so great to see everybody, that all the different roles that our innovators have. So coming from classroom teaching to training and coaching and everything in between. So our panelists today all come from a really diverse background set, and all of our applicants, we hope, do as well, because it really adds to the flavor of conversations and networking we get to have as part of this awesome community. Thanks, Donita. Jerome Burg, tell us about you, sir.
Well, I'm very innovative because I don't know how to do the lower third, so we're going to do it this way. There was my lower third. Done. So I'm Jerome Burg, and I was in the guinea pig GTA in 2006 because I live across the bay from Google in Mountain View. And what I spent 36 odd years teaching high school English, 34 of them in the same classroom. And now I'm out in the world, at least virtually, in Google Earth all over the place. And the Google Lit Trips project tracks great travels in literature through virtually. So students can virtually write alongside the characters as they read, read a novel. So that's it.
Awesome, Jerome. Thank you so much. And we'll hear a little bit more about these innovation projects and the kinds of projects that innovators get to work on. But Jerome's is such an exciting example of an idea that when you get support and networking with can really take off. And I know it's one that's really loved by a lot of educators around the world. So thanks, Jerome.
I would add, by the way, just one thing. Google Lit Trips was born at that GTA. I had never seen anybody draw a line on Google Earth. And the Google team said, there's a line. And
you were inspired right there at the Academy, for sure.
Right there. The very first
Awesome. You're a product of success. Thanks, Jerome. Cool. James Sanders, tell us about your product of success, or what you've been up to.
Hey everyone, my name is James, and I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for a group called EdTech Team, and I currently work full-time on this project called Breakout EDU. I was in the 2012 Google Innovator Group out in London. I do want to do a special shout out to my friend Brandon Robertson, who's a teacher in South LA who's watching and asked me to do a shout out in a very awkward way. So I want to do that as well. Yeah, really excited to be here. I think one of the things I'd like to share is that I think Google Certified Innovators are going to be the ones that end up changing education. For one, they already are. So I couldn't speak higher of a group like this. And so it's just awesome to be able to share more about the program with all y'all watching.
Thanks so much, James. Really exciting to hear. And what cohort were you at?
2012 London.
Cool. Thanks, James. Mr. Markey, joining us from Chicago. Tell us.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Wendy. Yeah, it's good to see everyone on the Hangout and talk to everyone out there. My name is Jason Markey. I am a high school principal at East Leiden High School, as Wendy mentioned, just outside of Chicago, right next to O'Hare Airport. We're a high school district in suburban Chicago, as I mentioned, about 1,800 kids. And when I actually went through the Google cohort, also in 2012, but in New York City, right, Jennie? Jennie and I went together to the same cohort. I was principal at the time, so that was my first year as principal. And I think one of the reasons why I wanted to join this particular group and be a part of that experience is because I always want to kind of think as a learner and think as a teacher and as a student. And I thought that would be a great opportunity to do that and work with a lot of great educators, and it has certainly been that. So I'm very excited to talk more about it today and to share some of those experiences.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jason. And again, if you're just joining us, you can go ahead and join us on the back channel, #GoogleEI, or on the plus page, you can throw down any questions you have, and we'll definitely address those here in a bit. Great. Let's hear from Jay. Jay is joining us from our most exciting location today, a taxi in Singapore. Welcome, Jay. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Actually, I just walked into my office. So I'm on mobile, and everybody's looking at me funny as I walk into school. So yeah, so I'm at a Singapore American school where I am the high school educational technology coordinator, and I work with about 1,200 kids and 120 teachers. And I was in the Mountain View cohort of 2012.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jay. Great. Let's join Jennie now, also from Chicago. Jennie, tell us a little bit about you and your experience.
Hi guys, I'm Jennie Mogera, also from Chicagoland area. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at School District, Display in School District 62, right on the other side of O'Hare Airport from Jason. So if you're flying over, you'll either fly over his school or our district. I was also, like Jason, at GTANI 2012, Google Teacher Academy New York 2012, and it was a great experience. It was something, sometimes you get tired of being on your lonely island of innovation and going to nerd camp and meeting all of your other inspired crazies is a magical thing. So excited to chat more about that today.
Awesome. Thanks, Jenny. And I think the fact that we have this whole group of panelists with us today is just testament to kind of the strength of this community. And I know one of the reasons so many people want to apply and probably the strongest benefit from being part of it. So thanks for sharing that, Jenny. Julene, tell us, Julene, where are you and when were you a part of the program and what do you do now?
Hi there, I'm Julene. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm the Director of Academic Technology for a school here, St. George's Independent School. And I am really passionate about global technology. So I'm lucky enough to be on the Google Teachers Advisory Board for Google Geo and do a lot of work in the tundra with Polar Bears International. So we've done Street View capture out there 2 years ago and again this fall, and I'm writing expedition curriculum for that, so that's really exciting. I get to work in countries like Malawi and Saudi Arabia and different places as well as the U.S., so I love that whole global perspective. And Google just is such a great way with all the geo tools to tie that in, but I also love going out and working with teachers and getting them to understand the excitement that Google brings with collaboration to your classrooms with your students. So I think my biggest advice to you is follow your passion and be passionate about what you're doing, and that will follow you as you apply for the Innovation Academies. And I am class of 2010 with Mark Wagner, Google Teacher Administrator in San Antonio.
Awesome. Thanks so
much. He was before me. He was just leading that cohort.
As you see, everyone is from so many different locations and cohorts that it's really exciting to see that this is just the first of a few cohorts for 2016 in Mountain View, but soon some of you will identify yourselves with a cohort and a group of folks and the larger community. So thanks, Julene. Ms. Highfill, tell us, where are you today? What are you up to? Where did you come from?
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Highfill and I was a school teacher in Pleasanton Unified for 20 years, which is in California, San Francisco East Bay. Right now, since the Google Teacher Academy, I was in 2011 in Seattle, Chawla. And that was a great group. I now am the instructional technology coach on special assignment in my district, and I work with teachers from kindergarten to 12th grade how to teach really well with technology. We rolled out Google Apps for Ed, and that was a big part of my job. I think the one thing I would like to add, everyone's been saying just so spot on, that being a part of that group, although it was may have been a short event at the time, I'm still so connected to so many people who are great thinkers that I'm so inspired by, and they really are great mentors for me, and they've inspired me to go big with ideas and not be afraid to pursue them. So.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lisa. And you may have seen Lisa's great stuff with hyperdocs out there. We're just checking the Google EI hashtag, and some folks are saying how much they'd love to hear about some of the cool projects that have come out of it. And I know that Lisa's hyperdocs is one very cool project that she's been working on as well. So we'll talk about more about those innovation projects in a bit. But thanks, Lisa.
Thanks.
Mr. Wagner, tell us a little bit about your experience with the Google Innovation Program.
But I'm Mark Wagner. I'm a former high school English teacher and been a tech coordinator at the site district and county levels. And I was very lucky from about 2008 to 2011 to help Google run the Google Teacher Academy. So I met many of the panelists that way, and many of the first 1,000 or so Google certified teachers at the time, now innovators. So it's really exciting to be on this panel today and to be talking to people who are considering joining the community, because these are going to be future colleagues and friends of all of us here, I'm sure. So it's an exciting time every time a new one of these is announced.
Great. Thanks so much, Mark. Joining us very early from India today, Shubha, welcome. Thanks for getting up early to be with us with your awesome couch in the background. Tell us about your experience with the Innovator Program and what you do now.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning from India and good afternoon from all the viewers out there. Myself, Shubha. I am the Google Certified Innovator from with Danieta. We were like the first one in the GTA group, Gurgaon, India. And to be very honest, the journey began from there, wherein I actually learned how exactly the technology can be integrated in the classroom. And from therein, my role changed in my school. And from being the high school teacher and the event coordinator, I moved into the IT integration in the classrooms, capacity building in India, being a part of GG group here. And it is the journey like started 2 years ago, and with like trained almost around 200 more plus teachers, and recently had worked with Jay at Delhi as well as in Bangalore, with exciting educators who was like eager to welcome these kind of certifications programs in India, and we are looking out for more in India. And with the help of you guys, motivating them and taking them further would be great for us.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Shubha. And I think this project with India has been really exciting to see how innovators can actually transform a lot of the work they're doing and scale it out. So seeing that happen in India is really exciting. And to see the connections here, we have Donita, Jay, and Shubha from out there here today. So thanks for joining us so early, Shubha. We appreciate it. Yay! And thanks to all of our innovators for coming and sharing a little bit about themselves and their experience and why they chose to hang out with us this afternoon and this morning to answer your questions about applying to this program, why they should, questions about the application, and what they can expect from the program. Great, guys. Well, if you want, we're just going to do a quick overview of the actual application and what you need to do to get it done, and maybe ask the panelists any tips they might have about that. So I'm going to quickly show our next slide. Great. Cool. So if you go to the website at certifiedinnovators.com, there we go. You'll go ahead and see a few of the requirements that you need, and you'll have a link right to, I'm going to just go ahead and head there. There we go. Cool. So if you want to learn a little bit about who it's obviously for the type of folks that are joining us on the call today, people who are passionate about changing the world of education and are trying out innovative things in their classroom, in their communities, in their schools, and beyond. And to get into the program, you do have to do a few things. You need to take the Google Certified Educator Level 2 exam. And in your application, you have to show a history of innovation in schools. And the application will take you through a few questions that ask you to lay that out and let us know how you're doing that currently. And to do that, the application's right here. And you can even start to brainstorm. Applications are not due until January 11th, 2016. So you have some time over the holiday break to start brainstorming and thinking how you want to share your innovative idea or vision with the application team. And then you'll get notified January 18th, so pretty quickly. And then, of course, you have to join us in person at the Academy in Mountain View, California. Where you'll get 2.5 really awesome days of professional development and get inducted into a community and a year-long program of mentoring and work on your innovation project and collaborating with other innovators around the world. So those are the basics of this round of the applications. So we hope you, if you're thinking of applying, you've opened up the application, checked it out, started to think about your level 2 prerequisite. I wanted to know from the panel, taking the level 2 prerequisite, does anyone have any tips or ideas about getting through that as folks are getting ready to maybe take and go into the training center and get that prerequisite out of their way?
Yeah. I guess I would say just do it. I think that some people put off trying to do the test because they're afraid that they're not going to know enough or they're going to, fail. Like, we teach our kids to iterate and fail forward. So I think I got this from Mark. You have a 0% or 100% better chance of succeeding if you try. Is that what you say? I don't know.
I got that from Wayne Gretzky. 100% of all goals scored are a shot on net.
Yeah. So I got it from Mark, who got it from Wayne Gretzky. But I see so many colleagues who put it off and put it off and put it off and then do it, and they go, wow, that wasn't so bad at all. So just do it.
Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, and all the resources are there, and it's actually a really great chance to get familiar with all of the different Google tools, which will help you when you come to the Academy and are also part of the Innovator Program to try out some of this stuff and think about how it can be used and help you with a larger project that you might want to work on.
Hey, if somebody's just starting today, how long would it take to go from kind of beginning the program, the test, to passing it, in your opinion, just kind of roughly speaking?
I would say it depends a little bit on your experience. Obviously, the more exposure you've had to Google Apps, the better. We were just working with this groups of teachers in India who had very little experience with it, but they were really excited by the structure of the training center because it's not as product focused as it is about teacher focused, and it's the things that we do in the classroom and that we do in our everyday jobs. So it gives it really a lot more context and a lot more of the kind of why you do these things, rather than you click here to do this and click here to do that. That can come. So I think especially if you have that kind of bigger, broader picture view of things, I wouldn't say it takes too much time to do. I don't know if there's an exact number because it'll vary quite a lot, but it's pretty manageable.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jay, and thanks, James, too, for asking that question. I think we're all pretty busy as educators, so thinking of time management for applying and also the prerequisites and preparing all your materials, thinking of ways that you can start to plan for that while still doing your job is important for sure. We did have a question in the community from Margaret, and maybe Becky, if you wanted to answer this one. If I have a Google Educator certification from May 2014, do I need to redo the certification to apply to the GCI program?
Becky's walking over here.
I'm going to crash the hangout over here. There. Hi guys. So yes, the two certifications are quite a bit different. If you took the Google Educator certification prior to June 2015, you will have taken the 5 product-focused exams. Since then, we got a lot of feedback that those exams didn't really test someone's knowledge of how to use the tools in the classroom in particular. And so in June, we relaunched a new set of exams for educators, and the certified level 2 exam is mostly performance based, so it actually tests how you can perform certain tasks within Google Apps, and that is the type of knowledge and skill set that we're looking for in innovators. So yes, you will have to pass the new level 2 exam in order to apply to the program.
Thanks, Becky. And we also have a question from Shannon. Does one need to have taken level 1 before level 2? And no, you can go straight to level 2 and take that to satisfy the requirements. So great questions coming in, guys. Keep them coming in to the Google Plus page where we're answering them, as well as a hashtag #GoogleEI. If you have any other questions about the prerequisite or preparing your application. Cool. Looks like there's a lot of questions for that. Let's see.
I'm answering what I can on Twitter.
Great. Cool. We do have another question about kind of just logistics with the application, but if you are a Google trainer, do you still need to do Google Level 2? And yes, you do still need to do that. The Google Trainer program is a separate set of exams that you'll need to take. So what's really exciting, how many of you guys on the panel are Google Education trainers as well? Yay, awesome. So you can be both. So if you are a trainer and you look at the Innovator Program requirements and it sounds like you definitely can be a part of both programs, and they're both really enriching networks to be a part of, for sure.
And I'd just like to say I love the new exams and the education focus, because it is more about application and personalized learning and how to use these tools with your students. So I think these are really more meaningful, and you'll be able to relate to them better than just the tools in isolation. So I think you'll really like them.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Julene, for sharing that. Cool. I wanted to know, as we look into the application itself, I know all of you filled out your applications at some point to get into the Innovator Program, and the application has changed over the years, but it's still at the heart of it is trying to capture innovation and ideas that you have and your experience in the classroom. So I'd love to hear if anyone wants to share from the panel any tips for filling out an application like this. What should applicants focus on? What should they think about when they're writing or trying to interpret how they're doing innovation in their world? Anybody care to take a stab at that?
I would say this is not an application to be a Google fanboy or fangirl. Focus on your passion for being an educator, and think about if you were talking to your best teacher friends over drinks of water or whatever you may imbibe after school, what would you be geeking out with? If you had your best school friend sitting next to you and you were just like, yeah, and you were yes-anding each other and high-fiving and getting all geeked up, that's the feeling and the emotion, the passion that should be read through as you write your application. So it's not sucking up to Google and being like, man, Gmail's my jam. I love me some Google Drive. It's, this is why I want to change the world. This is how I do change the world, and this is how I will change the world if I can be a part of this community. And that's the kind of personalized feel that really stands out.
Yay! Well said.
I would like to add one thing. Like when I did my submission of the Google Innovation, like the GTA program, what actually is required is just to follow your passion. Just talk about what you've been doing and what you want to actually do. I think when these two things integrate well, I think you can apply it very well. So if you just follow these two things, what you want to do and what you have already done, I think that's the key to apply for this program.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Shubha.
You should also not feel obligated to make it a laundry list of every Google app that you've used and show all of them. Like both Shubha and Jennie have said, it's really about what it is that you really love to do. So if you just say, yeah, I use Google Docs, I use this, and I use that, and I use that, that's not as that shows a diversity and it shows a breadth, but we really want to see what you are all about.
Awesome. Right. Thanks, Dave, for adding on to that.
I'd love to add something else that, like I said before, so much of it is about connecting with other people who end up becoming mentors and friends and partners on projects. So if you can show your personality as much as possible and not give answers that you think they want to hear, but show us who you are. I think everyone's looking to see different personalities, and I think show everyone that, and that's a great avenue to go down when you're applying.
Thanks, Lisa, for that tip. And I think everyone in the panel is invested in helping find these passionate folks to join us, because we really draw on the community for collaboration and ideas, and you're joining a network of, over 1,700 educators to do the same thing, like Jennie mentioned, and that's go change the world. So I think showing that passion will really set you aside for sure. Cool. And I don't know, Mark, did you want to share anything about looking at the vision or an idea that somebody might have?
Well, I think the biggest difference between the application now and the application in years past that everybody here filled out is that it's not just focusing on what you've done, it's focusing on a vision for what you could do. As a big part of this application is articulating your vision for something that you could launch in the next 12 months with support from Google and from this community. And that's very much going to be a part of the new program, rather than a single 2-day face-to-face event. It's going to be a 12-month experience with support, with mentorship, with advisors and guest speakers and so forth to help you launch your vision. Now, it'll obviously undergo some changes over that time, and you don't need to be concerned about submitting something polished for the application. You don't be too married to it, because you're about to be put in a room with a bunch of other smart educators, and things will change. But good to come in, good to apply with a nugget, right? Something that you imagine might be possible and might make things better for students or educators. So it doesn't need to be fully fleshed out, but the more you can think big or think outside the box, it doesn't have to necessarily mean a massive scale. You could think local, but be ambitious and try to solve something that you might not have tried to solve if you didn't go through the process of applying.
Thanks, Mark. And I think that kind of speaks to another question that maybe any other innovators can think about with their own project. But Tracy's asked, struggling with the vision part of the application because her district's just begun to support innovation. I know a lot of us have been there where we're the kind of lone innovator, like Jennie mentioned, or and finally finding your tribe, with a group like this or other professional development groups you've been a part of. So maybe innovators on the panel, what kind of advice might you have as Tracy's trying to articulate maybe what her dream is, maybe at a smaller part of her dream or just the beginning steps, but also making it accessible to maybe her teacher next door that maybe has some constraints as well. Does the team have any suggestions for starting to draw up the plans for that? I know you all started at different phases with your own innovation projects, and really the vision part of the application is you thinking of that first idea that you have, that kind of problem you see in your classroom or in your school or just globally with education, and it's really your first crack at it. Any suggestions from the team for Tracy?
I would like to add, I think India is nothing different, because I think we have a lot of infrastructure issues. We have teachers who really don't want to welcome technology in their classrooms. They say we don't want to do it. Internet is big issues. With all these things, I think innovation really took a back seat, and when it comes to management and the principles of the school, it took a lot of time. But to be very honest, the scenario has now changed with a lot of efforts being put up by the teachers like us who want to bring in change. It's just that we need to get started, and I think the mindsets of the people, the to welcome the innovation gradually changes. The failures are there. To be very honest, I have failed a number of times, but now I am here to share the success stories. So yeah, I think you need to get started. I think the hurdles will be there. There will be issues. There will be people who will not be ready to welcome innovations. But
one of the things, I don't know if it's a safe space to share it here, but one of the things that inspires me is a quote that Steve Jobs said, was that everything in this world was made up by people no smarter than us. And so all the education garbage that we have to deal with in our schools or in our classrooms, whether it's our belief in the standards or whatever the systems may be, at the end of the day that was just made up. And so why not make up something better? And I believe that this group, the larger group of Google Certified Innovators, are people that do that. Look at the problems that you're having in your life or the education world that you want to exist, and try to build that, and not be afraid to take on something much bigger, whether it's trying to create a new conversation around why we do something, or building an app that will reinvent ways that people solve different problems. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing to think about is working on a problem that you're passionate about. Don't make up a project that you think will be flashy and people will like it. It's work on something, a problem that you care about, because that's the type of work that you'll get passionate about. You don't need to please Google or the people on these panels. You need to please yourself, and you want to be able to wake up and work on something that you're really excited about. So that would be the only advice on that I would have.
And to piggy, go ahead, Jerome.
Well, a slightly different take. I mentioned earlier that my idea just popped into my head in a flash when I saw you could draw a line on a map, and that the map could actually rotate, and that the map was Google Earth. And so within a very short period of time, what I decided to do is, well, what can I do with mapping that I could never do before? What does Google Earth bring to my two passions, technology and literature? And so all of a sudden I realized, why treat it as a map at all? Treat it as an environment. Put the kids in place with the characters, because you can do that with Google Earth. You can tilt the view. You can see terrain. You can have west at the top if you want west at the top of the screen, because that way it looks like you're traveling towards the west, as the Jodes were doing in the Grapes of Wrath. And all of a sudden I kept just toying around with, wow, I can bring literature in a whole new way to life in the world where my students live. And so I started kind of meshing together what Google Earth brings to mapping and what I could use mapping to do to bring to putting kids right inside the stories that they're reading and studying. Awesome. And so, what's the other way of looking at the tool? What's the other way of bringing that tool to your passion? And what's the way that you can share your passion with kids, in my case for literature, in ways that previous literature teachers, all of whom were passionate about literature, never did. Their passion was, I love this stuff. Why do you guys hate it? So
that's really great, Jerome, because I think you touch on something that I think ideas and visions and projects can change pretty drastically, depending on what you're inspired by the people you hang out with during the academy, and then, of course, kind of online in your cohort and in the programming as part of your year in the program. So I think it's important to note that, with the mentorship of this program, which is new for this iteration, is, finding you someone who can help you get the resources you need, ask the right questions, and help shape that vision. And even if it does pivot and change to, a new product or a tool, or maybe not even, maybe more thinking about culture at your school or thereabouts. So that's a great point to think of how your idea changed over time, for sure, Jerome. Cool. Great, guys. We did have a kind of a technical question about just, creating a video. Part of the vision is creating a deck for your what you see your project looking like, and then also a video. So I know all of you guys have done some great videos for you to share your idea with the panelists. And of course, I think Cynthia asked on the Q&A who the panelists are, but they're all former current innovators that help pick the next round of applicants that they want to join the community. So it's super organic and helping choose folks that'll come and be a great part of the community. But yeah, if anyone on the panel wants to share any ideas or what a good video might be, or if someone's thinking of ideas for a video, what might you tell them?
I think to jump in, as Lisa mentioned earlier, it's a great opportunity to demonstrate your personality and talk, and then wrap around what you really want to accomplish and what you think also that you can bring to the community. I think there's kind of two things, right? What do you want to gain from the experience, and then also what do you bring as an individual? Because I think that's a big thing, that each one of the people that I know on this panel brings something very unique to the community that I know I can go to that individual person for. And they become like your go-to person for that area or that aspect of education or whatever it may be. So I think it's really important to demonstrate that, what you bring to it, but then also what you're trying to gain from it, and again at the same time trying to give your own twist and demonstrate your personality a little bit as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Anybody else have tips for creating a vision for the panel?
I think I want to echo what Jason said, and I think a lot of people who, when they create their videos, are trying to put a lot of content in a short amount of time to say, here's all the things I did, and they think of it like a video resume. Instead of thinking of it like a video resume, think about it as the video that you would put on a dating site. You're trying to get these people to invite you to their community, and the Google Certified Innovator community, as you can see, is really close knit. Many of us on this Hangout met through the GTA process and are now really good friends, and it's because it's a curated community of excited edu friends who want to change the world. And so when the people who are going to be watching your videos are going to say, do I want to invite this person to my family? Are they the type of person who I want to have dinner with and talk about changing the world with? And a video resume saying, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this in my classroom, and I used Google Forms to assess, that's not necessarily going to get an invite to dinner. Show your personality, but really think of it. If you don't say everything you do, there's other places to say that. This is the time to show who you are and to make the person on the other end of the video fall in love with you. Some of my favorite videos that I saw said very little about the accomplishments of the individual, but made me really know that they were someone who had that spark and that passion to make a difference.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jennie. Before we get into any other questions, does anyone else want to share? I think Jennie shared the community being such a great benefit of the Innovator Program. Does anyone else want to share maybe briefly why would somebody want to apply? Are there reasons for maybe getting the motivation to do it over the holiday season? Why should someone join the Innovator Program?
I have kind of a bizarre reason. I suspect. I mentioned that I taught in the same classroom for 35 years or something, at the same campus, the same teachers, many of whom were wonderful, and many of them who were there. And you kind of get to know your own staff. You have got to get out and mix with people that come from all different kinds of environments and all different kinds of communities, even at their own school. When I did a little bit of work for Apple, I got to go to a whole bunch of schools, and it was just amazing how the ambiance at each school was built on different teachers with different ideas. It actually goes back to when I did journalism. I was the only journalism teacher. I didn't have anybody to talk to on my campus, and so I started meeting, in those days, pre-internet, with other journalism teachers, all of whom had great ideas and were lonely at their school. And so getting into this community and any other professional learning network community, it enriches. It's like you're marinating in new ideas all the time.
I think for me, it's just so humbling to go, and be able to connect with educators that just blow you away, like getting to meet people like Lisa Highfill or Ramsey Musalam or Carrie Ann Philman, these educators that, if I continue to live in my own little island, in my own little world, I'd never be able to connect with. And now, they've gone from being these amazing educators that I've looked up to friends and people that I can draw upon, for assistance or help. And they're your biggest supporters. Even if you're working on some silly, wacky project, they'll be willing to give it a shot at least once and give you feedback on it. And and it's a community to support you. So you do have this flexibility to throw stuff out there that you may not be comfortable sharing with the staff in your your weekly faculty meeting. But this is a community that will be open to it, saying why not? It might work. Let's try it once. No, it didn't. All right, let's try something different, and being able to iterate safely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's, like on campus, having a safe space where you can be yourself. The Google Innovative Educator community is a safe space for people like us, and I look forward to seeing the community not only grow but become more diverse as we, become a bigger world of connected educators.
James, I'm going to tap off of that. And, I want to say that I think this is one of the biggest things that changed me as a teacher in the classroom. And it wasn't because of anything anyone said or did. It was, so often we ask our kids to be creators and makers in the classroom, and we forget about ourselves, and we are students just like our students in the classroom. We learn the same way. We have the same needs as a student. And this actually gets you to be a creator and gives you this whole new energy to be a thinker and creator that changes the profession for you. And so what I mean, it changed me as an educator. It gave me a whole new energy to teach and a new way to be thinking that is amazing when you pass it on to your kids. It's very contagious, this new cycle.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa. Great. Cool. Anyone else have Donita, do you have anything to share over there about why someone might want to join the community?
I mean, I would say that I would just build on what's already been said. For me joining, it was very much taking a risk because it was my first time hearing about this. However, once I joined, now I have this amazing community of people and this amazing network, and I have really close friends that I've developed within this program, and I've just seen myself grow exponentially, and I've also been able to help others grow. And for me, that's like, I would say my passion even developed while I was there. So I came in with one project and one idea in mind, and I left wanting to just support other teachers and helping other teachers be able to implement this practice and this mindset with their students. So just changing my own mindset for growth and taking risks and supporting other teachers and doing the same. Like, I came back to New York just ready to change the world. So once you go through this program and this process, when you go back to your school, it's like you will not be the same person as when you walked in. And you may learn something new about yourself, and you may change something that you weren't expecting to change. So that's essentially what happened with me. And it will happen for all of you too.
Right? Yeah. Well, I think there's probably a lot of people watching that are thinking, should I take the time to apply this? Or
I was feeling that. Yeah.
Go for it. Kind of taking the risk, and we're only accepting a small number of folks for this particular cohort, but you try, and a lot of the folks that have become innovators have tried once or twice, or maybe it meant that it wasn't a good fit for the mentors in that project, or there's all sorts of different reasons, or maybe it's just chance. But I think trying again, or being willing to put yourself out there and try that is so important. So that's great to hear, kind of a word of motivation for folks who are maybe on the fence about taking the time to do this. I do know there was some questions about whether or not folks can apply a second time, and you absolutely can. So you can even consider this. I always say that just going through the questions in the application itself is a really great exercise in learning about yourself as an educator, and saving those questions and building on them later, or having a friend or colleague look at them and just think about your own vision. And whatever the vision is you put in the application, it's a vision you can start tomorrow, even without the support of this network. And so hopefully that's something you can do for sure.
I'll just say one more thing about the network and the opportunities that come from it. I think Donita is a great example of this, as is pretty much everybody on the panel that I'm looking at. Like, the opportunities that have come to us since attending the GTA. I think back, I was in 2012, so in the last 3 years, the things that have changed and happened in my life, as well as all of the people that are on the panel here, it's pretty amazing. So lots of doors and opportunities will open up for you just by being a part of and connecting with these people.
And I want to also say about the community. We all keep talking about the community, and I think for some people that's a positive, and for other it's intimidating. I think that people see these, kind of ed tech innovator dubbed communities, and they think, oh, well, am I good enough? Are they going to accept me? And the Google Certified Innovator community is one of the most open and generous communities of all of the PLNs that I'm a part of. It's not a very competitive, keeping up with the Joneses, who's being more innovative, who's doing more, who has more this or that, or accolades. It's a community of a bunch of people who want to geek out together and who want to encourage each other to be crazier. And I think I feel like it's a safe space. I think Lisa said that as well. And every time I get together with any of these people, it's not who's doing this better, who's not doing it, but let's do something else. Let's cook up more crazy together. It's anything from, Mark saying something like, let's go indoor skydiving, to, James saying, I'm going to invent a brand new game that's going to be free on the internet for everyone who wants to come play with me. And as a classroom teacher who's always being told what you can't do and why you can't do it, to be with so many courageous, giving people really fills your batteries. And it's so much more than technology and Google, and it's really about, we keep saying change the world, but we're not exaggerating. That's really what it is. And so if you're willing to be brave and take a leap, this is the right place for you.
Exactly, Jenny. I would just like to add few things here. Like this community has actually, it's not about, as Jenny rightly said, it's not about sharing what technical difficulties that we guys face, but it's more about sharing of ideas, learning from each other, and to grow as an individual. To be very honest, I've been part of this community from last 1 year, and I have learned a lot. What I have not actually learned before as not a part of this community. Like I used to go Google a particular tool, but nowadays I just put a query there and I get the answers with so many educators out there. So that's the fun of that community.
Awesome. Thanks, Shubha. Thanks, Jenny, for sharing those insights. Obviously, everyone, you can see what a big part the community is to this. And all of you are in a little community right now in our event asking really great questions. So we're going to make sure we leave enough time right now to address some of those questions, and then we'll end by thanking our panelists here in just a few minutes. Mark, did you want to share with us some of the frequent questions that are popping up and some good answers to them?
Sure, yeah. So I'm just rifling through Twitter and the event on Google Plus here, and there's a number of questions that have been frequently asked over the years, and a few that are kind of new with the new spin on this, but I think I can rifle through some answers for you guys pretty quick. There will be other Academy dates over the course of 2016 in various regions. I think I'm safe in saying yes, there will be one in Canada, but specific locations have not been announced yet. So there will be a few in North America and a few internationally. So if you're looking for it to come to you, you can certainly hold out for those. But personally, I always recommend people apply. When there's an open application, just go ahead and apply as long as it's possible for you to get there. There were some questions about the application. It was noted that there's a limited number of characters, and yes, the form does include your spaces. So be economical with your words, and do focus on telling your story and getting your vision across. Again, we don't need to hear everything you've done or everything you could possibly do. So focus will be important. In terms of who's judging these, there is a panel of existing Google Certified Innovators. Of course, Googlers have input as well, but largely it's a matter of other educators like yourselves who have gotten into the program in the past, scoring these and judging these and making those decisions. 2 people can apply separately on a joint concept, but everybody needs to apply individually. So you could theoretically, of course, be collaborating on a project, but everybody ought to apply individually. That said, it may be realistically highly unlikely that 2 people from the same school would get accepted. So just go in knowing that. Doesn't mean you can't work with each other after the fact. Absolutely, your applications, your innovation projects can involve other technologies as well. We're all here because we believe that the technologies that Google makes for students and teachers are pretty fantastic and door opening themselves. But obviously our vision here is bigger than just the tools, and if there are other appropriate choices that help support what you're doing, absolutely use those. In terms of costs involved, we saw a few questions about that. You do have to fly yourselves to the event and pay for your hotel room, but I can speak from experience. Google feeds you well, and there's no other hard costs involved. Obviously, though, if you're committing to this program now, you're committing to a year of working on your project and launching your project. So there's certainly soft costs in terms of your time and the effort you're going to put into it. I suspect, like a lot of teachers, you'll probably find other ways to spend money on your projects. But one of the supports we want to give you guys, not to raise expectations too high, is to help you find funding if you need it. How many applications we typically receive varies widely. It's usually in the hundreds, and to put a round number on it, in the past we might see a 10% acceptance rate. Our hope, of course, is to get as many as possible with the new application format, and to be able to pick the best candidates for the program and for the community. So it's not impossibly impacted. It's not thousands of applications. but the folks who apply really put a lot of thought into it and are really bringing a lot to the application and to the program. So it's still a fairly I don't know if competitive is the right word, but it's only a small number can be accepted. The cohorts this time around are a little bit smaller than before. It used to be about 50 to 60 participants, and this is looking at about 30 to 35 per cohort, in keeping with the greater support philosophy of a smaller number of people getting considerably more support from Google. So hopefully I answered a bunch of questions really quickly. Wendy, do we have time for the final question to the panel?
I think we do. We have a couple more minutes left. I did just see a couple other things to show. There's a few higher ed folks on the chat right now, and absolutely, the more diverse roles that we get, the more enriched experience we have in our network. So please, if you have any question about if your role is right, let us know in the community. We'll also go through and comb through, and if we missed your question, we'll respond to you directly on Twitter or the community. But really great questions, and really great to see everyone from around the world taking time today to listen to the panel. I've seen so many great nuggets of phrases come through already, of just words of wisdom, not just for this application, but just for innovation and education in general. So we're really excited about that. Mark, yeah, if you wanted to ask our panelists one final question to really set the tone for getting to work and pressing that application button and opening it up, what would you like to ask them?
There were a couple other questions asked, and I think this will address some of them, but things will change over the coming year, whether it's your job or your mentor or your project itself. So in keeping with the agile development philosophy, if you will, there'll be some pivots along the way, I'm sure. So we're all going to come into the year with a certain vision, and it'll certainly change. So we have just a couple of minutes left, and the question we wanted to throw out to the panel here, and we'll probably only be able to hear from a couple of you, is in terms of getting the juices flowing for the applicants, any just thoughts, ideas, problems you'd love to solve for the future? Like if you guys were applying to the Academy today, what sort of problems would you want to take aim at in your innovation project? And while they're chewing on it, anybody who's watching and applying, don't let any of these answers limit you, but just as an opportunity to inspire you, I suppose.
And while we let folks think just for a second as they send us off, just a few final things. Again, it's at certifiedinnovators.com. You have until January 11th to get that application in. You can send us questions right here on the Google Plus page if you have anything, and also stay in touch in the hashtag GoogleEI on Twitter and on Google Plus as well. We hope you all sincerely apply and give it a shot, and hopefully we get to join you into this awesome community. And I wanted to thank our lovely panelists. Thank you all for taking your time today to share with us. And who wants to send us off with their inspiring thought of if they could change anything in education, what would they change?
One thing would be just more of a type of problem to solve. Yes, you should definitely dream big and dream as big as you can, but also think about stuff that you can test out very small, right? So, it's like rather than like saying, oh, imagine if there was this thing called Facebook and millions of people would join. That's an awesome idea, and Facebook would be an awesome idea, but like, what does it look like to design something that you would just run in your school as a starter and then scale up to thousands of people? Something that you can start, small, that can grow, rather than depending upon thousands of joining it before you get started. It's just like, oh, I have this amazing idea. How can I test it with 5 or 10 people, to get it started?
And I would also say that no matter how big or small your idea is, know that innovation looks different in every setting. So what innovation looks like in India looks different than Chicago, looks different than rural Indiana. So if you have an idea that you feel has already been done before somewhere else, it would be done differently in your setting. And if it's going to impact the lives of your kiddos and teachers that you work with, then that's innovative and that's meaningful. So I love the question, if you could attack any problem in education today, but I don't think there's a right answer. I think that everyone, depending on your setting, has a different answer, and it doesn't have to sound super grandiose or sexy. It just has to make a difference in the people, in the lives of the people that you work around.
Slam. Thanks, Jennie, and thanks everybody else. I want to let you guys get up and have breakfast like Shubha and go home to your family like Jason. Thanks everyone, and Jay to go teach. Thank you so much everyone for joining. We hope that your contribution today helps us find the innovators of tomorrow. So thanks so much guys. Have a great night and day.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.